Welcome to the Online Trainer Show, where we help fitness and nutrition pros take better care of their clients and build profitable businesses. I'm Jonathan Goodman, and as always, I'm joined by Amber Reynolds. We're happy you're here. Let's start the show.
I love how you pump your fist every time that your name comes in the intro. It's like you're kind of like sipping your Diet Coke, whatever, no big deal, and then your name comes out, and you're like, whoop, whoop.
That's my party girl. This is as much as, this is as crazy as it gets for me.
Those
are my dance moves. That's it.
It's a little bit too crazy for me. You're at a 9. If you can bring it down to a 5, I think I'd appreciate that.
I will try.
Okay.
I'm just so out there.
Wild. Well, we're talking today about how to find your perfect online clients, and I like this topic because I feel like it's something that I can clear up a lot of confusion around the different methods by basically categorizing them. Because the way I look at it, there's effectively 3 different categories of client generation methods. There's pay to play, there's short term, and there's long term. And they're all good, and they all work. When to use them, how to use them, who should use them, at what point, changes. So the first one that's kind of in everybody's mind is pay to play. So this is basically paid advertising. Pay to play could be sponsorship, could be paid email drops and stuff like that. That's a little bit more perhaps advanced methods, but most people think about this in terms of paid Facebook, paid Instagram ads and stuff like that. So pay to play is something that a lot of people can have a very small amount of initial success on, simply because it's just a way to get a message in front of people who are already kind of listening to you in a little bit stronger capacity more often. The problem is, once you've picked off your low-hanging fruit, then you get into colder and colder and colder traffic. Advertising to warm traffic can be really profitable. Advertising to cold traffic requires a whole nother ballgame of skills. And it can work exceptionally well, but you need to understand how to pick your market really, really well. You need to understand, of course, how the advertising systems work and all that fun stuff. But you also need to know how to craft a really, really strong offer, which is a whole different ballgame of skills. You also know how to craft a really good ad and test ads. We're experimenting with some search advertising right now for the Personal Trainer Development Center for the Online Trainer Academy. And there's something like 100 keywords that we're testing in the first 2 weeks. And every single day, multiple times a day, our head of marketing, Fabian, is working with the paid search company. And they're in constant communication. And this sheet is just constantly getting updated with, this one didn't work. This one seems like it has some promise, whatever. Like it's multiple very skilled people's full-time jobs. Once you get beyond that initial kind of, bulk of traffic that you might have heated up. So paid advertising is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Like at one point, if you want to really grow your business, paid advertising is kind of the only way. Not the only way, but kind of the only way. And if you do paid advertising and you do a lot of this other stuff, particularly some of the long-term content and branding stuff that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, then the paid advertising actually gets easier and more profitable, because then there's more warm traffic, right? If people have already heard about you or landed on your website or think positively about you in some way, your paid advertising is going to work better. Think about the difference if you see an ad and in the comments of that advertising, you see somebody commented that that says, I used this and it was a great product. That's where this momentum starts going. So paid advertising is great. I don't think it's where you start. I believe very strongly that you should start and begin with what you have. And for the most part, that means starting local. Online training doesn't have to mean that the person is far away. It could just mean that you leverage technology and automation and online marketing to be able to access more people cheaper and communicate with them at scale.
Yep, I've had clients within my neighborhood. One of them was literally a half mile down the road.
Yep. Beautiful. And so start with what you have. You have a community. You have existing contacts. You have an existing network. Like, that's what you start with. Until you have completely exhausted that and exhausted the referrals that come from that, you shouldn't even think about going into paid. Unless you have a lot of money behind you and you're very advanced in this and you have a full marketing team. You know, if you're like a supplement business, for example, and you want to like scale your thing, like maybe you could start playing around with some paid advertisements early on, but probably not. You probably still want to test it with people that you know. Because once you get into paid and you want to scale, your goal is to be able to scale quickly, which means you kind of want to be able to test. And so you can use paid to test quickly, efficiently, or not. Anyway, begin with what you have. Begin with the people that you know. Pound the pavement. Knock on doors. Call up friends and family members. And don't ask them to train. Ask for their feedback. This is the best way to find perfect online training clients, is if you ask people's feedback for something that you might do in the future. Everybody's going to say yes and talk to you. As opposed to, if you were to say to somebody, hey, yeah, I've got this service, you know, I think you might be a customer for it, and I think you might know some customers for it. Can we get on the phone and talk about it? All of a sudden, nobody's got time for you. Not even your family and friends. And I can tell you that hurts. Because I'm somebody who's come out with multiple books and products and stuff like that. And I can tell you that the second you come out with something to sell, all of a sudden, everybody you think is in your corner somehow doesn't exist. That kind of sucks. But if you do want to start with what you have and use your connections that you already have and your network that you already have, the way to do it is to call up Amber and say, hey, Amber, what's going on? Look, I'm really, really excited. I'm thinking about putting together a new program that, yeah, I'm going to call you on the banana phone. And, hi, Amber. Is this a good time on the banana phone?
This is a great time. Yes.
Okay. Look, I'm thinking about putting together a program for mothers with young kids. I'm not 100% sure what I want to include in it. Is it cool if I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Awesome. So what are some things that you really have struggled with previous fitness programs that you've been on?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Cool. What are some things that you've really loved, like when you felt like you were like raring, when you felt like you were good? Like, is there any, can you tell me about maybe where you were or what you were doing during those times? And now I have my feedback. Amber, thank you. This has been so, I can't even tell you how helpful this has been for me. Look, I'm still not 100% sure of what I'm going to put together, but when I have a little bit more kind of structured out, would you be open to chat with me and just give me a little bit of feedback on it?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Now I have permission to follow up with Amber. And so then I call up Amber and I say, hey, Amber, is this a good time on the banana phone?
Only on the banana phone.
Only on the banana phone. Great. Look, Amber, you know, we talked a little bit about, you gave me some unbelievable feedback before, and I ideally would have written some of that down and actually like remembered some of the specific feedback she gave. And I actually incorporated it into this structure. Is it cool if I go over just kind of the structure here? You can, you know, tell me what you think about it. Tell me whether you think it would work for somebody like you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So I'm thinking about, you know, this. It's going to be this amount of time. It probably costs about this much for the first group as sort of a test group, and then I'll you know, increase it to that amount. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, we could talk about doing that maybe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, like, what will happen here is one of two things, right? Amber will say, oh my God, like that actually sounds like something that I might be interested in. Oh my God, what a surprise. I called up my ideal customer, asked for their feedback along the way of building a program to build their perfect program, and what a surprise. When I spoke to them about it, all of a sudden now they were interested in this program.
Funny how that works.
Quelle surprise. Right? Maybe, though, she won't say anything. And like, you're not asking her if she's interested in it, right? But if she's interested in it, she'll say, hey, Amber, I'd really love to keep this to like friends and family and whatnot. Is there anybody that you think might be interested in this, like when it goes live for this first group, which I'm keeping pretty small, to test drive it? Oh, yes. Or maybe not, right? But the reality of it is, if you have 20 or 30 of people, along here, and you're looking for 5 or 10 clients to kind of start off of your perfect clients who are bought into the idea, who have worked with you for, this process only needs to take 2 or 3 weeks, right? Who have worked with you to literally build their perfect program. That's how you get your perfect freaking clients. Now you have your first group. Now you take extraordinary care of this first group. You hope to keep them going, but you also give them a lot of ways to invite other people in, because your perfect clients know other perfect clients. That's actually how this happens. If you have 10 clients for your first group and 3 drop off and don't continue and 7 continue, and then you get 10 more, well, now you have 17. Okay, well, if the same percentage drops off, right, now you have 4.5. Let's say 5 clients drop off, right? Now you have 15 clients, and then you add 10 more. Now you're at 25 clients. That's how these things go, right? That's how these things grow. All of a sudden now, 3 or 4 cohorts out, you're at 50 clients. And it's growing that fast because you have that many new nodes on the network. All started because you actually didn't do what you were supposed to do, which is on the internet, build an Instagram page and post content to the abyss and trying to get attention from all these people who don't know you, who don't give a shit about you, with material that, quite frankly, isn't that interesting yet because you don't know how to be interesting yet because you're just getting going with this, and all of us suck at stuff that we're just getting going with, and that's fine. Your advantage is you're building something. Your advantage is that you already know people who this would be right for. Get them to build it with you. Get them to be a part of it. And they're going to be ecstatic because they're going to feel like they have ownership in this thing. And they're the people you build this off of. That's how you find your perfect clients. That's it.
I think the key there is you have to be willing to be humble, to say, I don't have enough information, and B, get over being scared talking to people, because I feel like we tend to want to stay in our comfort zone and like, okay, I know how to program, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, let me throw it out into the world and see what happens. Mm-hmm. But the real work happens before, which is everything you just kind of talked about, but can be really scary because you haven't done it yet. So you have to be willing to be uncomfortable in order to make this work.
But the way, yes, 100%. And the only response to that, it's not a corollary. I don't know what the word is. We're talking about banana phone, sir. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the word is.
Banana phone.
Banana phone. Or in Canada, we had this kids show, and I don't even remember what the show was, but it was like, un ananaki pal, c'est impossible, which is like a pineapple that talks. That's impossible.
You're going to do bananas in pajamas.
There's also bananas in pajamas are coming down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas are coming down in pairs.
You're welcome for the earworm.
Oh my God, that show was great. That show was actually awful. If you YouTube it and look up episodes, it's really bad. I looked it up with Calvin at one point a couple months ago. Because I was like, I want to show you something from like when I was a kid, Calvin, and he watched it, and I was just like, this is bad.
Yeah, a lot of shows are like that now.
Yeah. The piece that I'll add to what you said, Amber, which I think is great, and is you're not selling. Like, this is this idea of just consultative, right? You are being curious. Sales is curiosity. And that's perhaps the paradigm shift that you need to make. The idea of hard selling, like people are advertised to, if the average person is on social media and TV 4 to 6 hours a day, people are advertised to 4 to 6 hours a day. They don't want to be sold to. They want to be listened to. Listen to them. Ask them questions. Be curious. They will be ecstatic. I mean, that's it. And it feels good to do that. That's all I got.
I think it's a great place to stop. Excellent. All right.
See you next
That's all
time.
I'm going to hear now when you start talking.
See you next time.